Hello friends and welcome. Today's video is a little bit different. I don't normally do videos like this, but I thought it'd be fun this year because I love gift giving. It's one of my favorite things to do for people. So I kind of pride myself on being able to find really specific stuff for specific people. So this list overall is going to be kind of like a jumble of things. There's no real specific theme. There's just stuff that either I have found really cool and want to try myself or want to try and give people in my life, or they are things that I have tried before and really love. So hopefully find something that inspires you. Obviously, none of these brands are sponsoring me or paying me to give my opinion or anything. All of this is my own opinions, so just keep that in mind. We're just gonna get into it. The first one, I have not tried anything from this brand, but they seem like a really cool concept. It's called Parks Project. They have clothing, they have water bottles, they have a really cool French press that I think looks awesome. And they essentially make a bunch of apparel and gear that is associated with national parks. And they give a portion of their proceeds back to parklands, which I think is really cool. Some of their clothing is a little bit on the pricey side. I will say the fleece that I originally found this brand from was a little bit on the higher end. So if you've got the money, they look really well made, and I think that it's a really cool, unique piece, and it's going towards a good cause, right? The second brand is Heading Prints. They do a lot of unique bandanas and scarves, and they're all based off of vintage book illustrations and book cover designs, which I think is really cool. I find it really hard to find prints that I like that aren't very generic or just like cheaply made. So these are all cotton based, and there's a huge variety of designs that you can pick from. I feel like you would be able to find almost anything for somebody here. And it's also a cool idea to get a bandana and like wrap a gift inside of the bandana. Then you don't have to get wrapping paper, you don't have to worry about taping it and making it look good. Plus then it's a functional thing in addition to another gift. The other thing, A24, they have a lot of really cool stuff on there. They have collectibles, they have apparel, they have playing cards, they have really cool coffee table book options. If you're looking for something to be like a coffee table book, they have screenplays, they have zines, magazines, they have even some novel versions of the movies, like Maxine. They have that whole series as a novel on there, so that's kind of cool. This is very specific to people who like A24 films, but I feel like there's a lot of people out there who do like A24 films. The other brand that I want to talk about is Wizard of Barge. They have stuff for a very silly little wizard or goblin in your life. This is very like specific art style, but I think that their pieces are really funny and they have a very unique style, so it's very like adventurer wizard themed things, you know? They have D&D, Magic the Gathering, they've got tote bags, they've got water bottles, they've got all kinds of stuff on there. And then on the topic of like a very specific style for someone is Take to the Grave. This place has a lot of American style tattoo decor and clothing, and it's very stylized in American tattoo style. So if you got someone in your life who really likes that, very cool option. I personally think that the dinnerware looks really cool. I think it's a very unique thing to get someone, and it's not going to be a generic item in their house. Now this portion I am going to do kind of like a for the book lover, I guess, in your life. Novel Bookstore Co. They make amazing wallets. They make amazing passport holders, and they have blank notebooks. They have all kinds of stuff that are based off of vintage books. I personally have like 3 wallets that I've bought from them before. I also have a blank notebook. I have a lot of things from this company that are really well made, and they're really interesting. I feel like you can very much make it specific to the person that you're buying for. Find out their favorite book and get them a wallet that looks exactly like it, kind of thing. There's also a big variety on there, so it's not all just vintage classics like Tolstoy and Bram Stoker or stuff like that. They also have stuff that's related to Death Note or Beetlejuice and like more pop culture kind of themes. So I think you can probably find something on there for any book reader in your life. And then on the topic of books, there is Library of Esoterica. This one is a little bit more specific. So I would also consider these kind of like coffee table books, honestly. They have a lot of history in them and a lot of artwork. They're very visually pleasing to look at, and it is kind of like a collectible series, just something very unique to the person, right? If they like plants, if they like astrology or witchcraft, that kind of stuff. Like there's a lot of cool things revolving around photography and artwork in them. So, and then thrift books. I really like thrift books because they have a lot of not only used books, but they also have a lot of new books. You can find new titles on there. You can also find discontinued printed titles on there. So if you're looking for like a specific edition of a book, or if your friend has a series but they want a specific style of that series, like a specific print, and you can't find it anywhere else, check thrift books. They have a lot of stuff on there. You might not always find it in the condition that you want it in, but very cool option to kind of reduce consumption, I guess. And then on the topic of recycling, Etsy, you could find a lot of cool recycled or upcycled books on there that people have turned into journals, which I think is really cool. They take like vintage book covers from books that are falling apart and they will repurpose it into a journal for you. And there's some that have like junk paper in them, so for someone who maybe scrapbooks in your life or who likes to junk journal, you could get them one of those. And then for a reader, you could get them a reading journal. That's always a good idea. Etsy has a lot of really cool, unique ones. Unfortunately, if you go through Etsy, you do kind of have to sift through a lot of AI junk, but I will put some listings down in the description for items that I have found that seem legit and just some stuff that's really cool in there. And then now we're gonna move on to fragrance. So one of my favorite companies is PF Candle Co. They have amazing stuff smell-wise. I am in love with their amber and moss. I think that's the best smelling candle and like fragrance ever. I used to have their perfume. Unfortunately, they don't do perfumes anymore. I wish they would bring it back because I have never gotten more compliments on a perfume than I did that one. But they do incense, they do candles, room sprays, reed diffusers, all kinds of stuff. And like a lot of their fragrances are really, really interesting. I feel like you'd be able to find something for anyone on there. The next one is Phantom. This one, I will say, probably not going to be able to get anything for Christmas from them because they are a very small batch fragrance company. They hand make all of their stuff with literally 2 people. They have an amazing collection for 2 people doing all of this work, but because of that, the wait times for shipping is extremely long. But I will tell you that every single fragrance that I have ever gotten from this company has been amazing. I am obsessed with them. My favorites are Olwyn, Lymphae, and Ectoplasm. I am not a gourmand person, okay? But this is the first gourmand fragrance that I have ever enjoyed. It's a marshmallow fragrance, and I'm like hearing the notes that are in that fragrance. There's no way. But they sent me a sample of it in one of my other orders, and I fell in love. So I have one coming on the way, but it's a very, very long wait process. So this is more so like if you want to support a company that is queer and female owned and small batch and really like caring about their craft, think ahead of time for like birthdays or anniversaries and stuff, and look at the huge selection that they have because they have a bunch of really cool themed stuff. The other fragrance company, which I have not tried yet, but I did purchase something for a friend this year, is called Zyrina. This is very like nostalgia inspired fragrance stuff, and everything comes in a VHS tape box, which I think is so cool. I love stuff like that where it's something that is meant to look like another thing. I should have a better way to explain that, but they have a lot of really cool stuff related to horror films, slasher films, to like 80s, 90s like themed things, and one of which would be Dark Ride, which is supposed to emulate the smells of a water ride like Pirates of the Caribbean, Splash Mountain, that kind of stuff, which I think is really cool. They also have information on each one on how wearable they are, so hopefully when this one arrives, the one that I ordered for my friend, hopefully it smells good and it is wearable like it says it is, but we will see. If not, it's still just a really cool like display piece. And then there of course is always the option of doing discovery sets. Heretic Parfum, Discotheque, trying to think of other ones. Imaginary Authors has one. I think all of those are very like popular brands right now, so if you get a discovery set, you can always let your friend kind of test new fragrances out. I like that. I like being able to try new things without like having to commit to something, so always a good idea. You can use it as like a stocking stuffer or something. And then the next things that I want to talk about was subscriptions and memberships. I feel like these kind of things are a good idea because they are a gift that keeps on giving, essentially. Some of the ones that I think are really cool are your local museum or your local aquarium. You can get get them a membership to that. And then more specific, you could do history by mail, which is a good gift for someone who's a history buff. There's a lot of historical replicas that they curate with artists and historians, and they aim to replicate the paper and the style of the original documents. They give you like a historical context guide and everything. You can also do add-ons for like national parks, urban legends, US holidays, that kind of stuff. Another one that I found recently that is a little hard to understand when you're looking at the website because it's very like artsy website design, but it's Isolari or Isolari. I'm not entirely sure how to say the name of the brand, but they're like unique palm-sized publications that are sent to you bi-monthly. They're essentially curated experimental literary books, and it seems really cool. It seems like a cool concept. They talk about a lot of political things, so maybe look into that aspect of it before you buy it for someone. But also you can purchase singular books if you're just interested in a specific one, but I think it's a cool idea. And then for the coffee or tea lover in your life, you can always do some really, I guess, bougie options if you really wanted to kind of treat them to something really special. A brand that I really love is Onyx Coffee Lab. They have an amazing selection of ethically sourced coffee, and they also have teas on there as well. So it's a little bit pricey for some of the beans, but they offer a lot of information about where they source from, who roasts it, how it's delivered, all that kind of stuff. So it's like they are very transparent with the methods that they use in order to get coffee and make sure that it's ethically sourced. Some of my favorites from them is Geometry. It's a light roast. It's supposed to taste like berries, stone fruit, Earl Grey. And then the other one is Southern Weather. That one is a medium roast, and it is like milk chocolate, plum, and candied walnuts. Both really good and on the lower end of their expensive beans. They have such a wide variety. I have yet to try them all. I think it's a good option for anyone who is like super into coffee. And they also have teas on there, which I've not tried the teas yet, but they seem really cool. Which I highly recommend searching your area for local places to get stuff from, because local coffee roasters, loose leaf tea shops, you're going to find a lot of really cool stuff. And not only will you possibly find a new favorite for yourself, but it's a lot easier to find something last minute shopping in case that is something you are worried about. And then the last two sections are just activities and miscellaneous. So for activities, I feel like it would be really cool to do a class with someone, you know, like a ring making class. You could do fragrance, like make your own perfumes. You could do bookbinding. You could do pottery, painting. You could do spa day, flower arranging. There's so many options out there. You could look for classes in your area to just have an experience with someone else. And I feel like making a memory with someone is sometimes more valuable than having a tangible item, which a lot of these, yeah, you'll have like a tangible item after the fact, and then it can kind of be like a reminder of the experience with them. And then miscellaneous. Antique stores. I love going to antique stores. You can find a bunch of trinkets. You can find like cute little trays for like jewelry, records, vintage books. You could find silk scarves. You can find artwork. You can find glassware. Something really popular lately has been those like candle drip trays with a bunch of thrifted glassware. And I think that'd be a really cool gift to like maybe make one with someone or just gift them the item so that they can make it. Okay, so some other things you can also look for. There's fairy lamps, which are really popular right now. You just put a tea light in them or a candle and it will light up and look like this very mood lighting decor piece. And then you can always pick up photo frames. You can do cigarette cases. I used one as a wallet for a while there, but you can also use it for little perfume samples. You could do a table lighter. There's a lot of modern looking ones, but you can also find very vintage ones. And then you can also look for quilts or blankets. One that I personally would love to receive, and I actually have a couple already, are glass lantern slides. You can find places or people or subjects that pertain to the person that you're giving it to. There's a lot of different options out there with these, but I think it's like a cool little conversation piece. I also wanted to mention Death Valley nails. This one's been really popular lately. They have a lot of cool stuff on there, very like glittery, sparkly, in-your-face kind of pigments, but they also have a dust-to-dust collection, which I think is really cool. It's all natural pigments, so they use rocks, bones, dirt, all kinds of stuff. And you can see it within the nail polish. They have like actual herbs and stuff in some of them. I think it's a really funky, kind of cool, unique idea for someone. They also have bath and body items, so I've heard a lot about these and that they smell really good. I have not tried them myself, but the packaging is really cool, and I feel like a lot of these would be really good gift ideas. Something else that's been really popular right now is bag charms. You could find a lot of stuff where you can make custom ones on Etsy, but I really like these older vintage kind of looking styles where it's got the rope cord or just the brass elements I really enjoy. So these are two that I think are really cool, and the things that I can link, I will be linking below. Another brand that I recently found is called Hey Ricochet. They do a lot of hair accessories, and I originally found them because of the granny square claw clip that they had. Unfortunately, it seems like that one's really sold out, but they have some pre-orders up for some stained glass claw clips, which I think are really cool. And then there's a bunch of other options on there like scrunchies and clips. And I think a lot of these pieces are really unique, and they use plant-based bioplastics. Supporting small businesses is so important in this time of year, and I feel like the more local you go, the more unique items you're gonna find. It's the easiest way to get a unique item is to go local. But yeah, I think that's all I have for this video. Honestly, I have a bunch of more ideas for like artist specific related items. I don't know if you guys would be interested in a video like that. I don't think that I'm gonna be able to get it out in time for Christmas, but if you guys are interested in the future, I can definitely make like an artist related gift guide. Hopefully this was helpful, but thanks for watching. I appreciate all of you being here and watching this far, and I hope you stick around. I have a Patreon if you're interested in monthly stickers. That is also something that you could give someone. Shameless plug, sorry, I have to. Or you could just subscribe, leave a comment down below, anything you feel like. I will see you all in my next one. Bye!